Hello again, Vinyl Community, it's Matt here, and this is going to be the first of what will probably be at least a three-part kind of a mini-series on the Beatles. And just because I've kind of taken the plunge, and I've decided to go down this rabbit hole of acquiring different pressings of the various Beatles albums. It's really kind of a 180 from what I used to do, which was I used to be of the opinion that, well, why would I buy the same album more than once, even if it was a different pressing? Why would I do that? Well, that is a valid argument, but since the Beatles are my favorite band of all time, like a lot of people, if I was gonna kind of, like I said, go down that rabbit hole of buying different pressings, it would make sense for it to be the Beatles because they have so many, which maybe is an argument for not doing it. I don't know, but yeah, they have so many different pressings by country, by year, different labels, and different stampers that we use depending on what year the pressing was made. And I don't know, it's something I've become more interested in. I did buy several books on the subject, so I'll probably show those in another video sometime. But yeah, I just wanted to do it again. They're my favorite band, and it's something I've become more and more interested in. That in actual fact, there are differences, and sometimes very significant differences between different pressings of the same album. And it's just interesting, every one brings something a little bit different to the table. Some pressings sound brighter, some are a little duller. Sometimes you get slightly different artwork. In the case of these Japanese copies, of course, you get those beautiful obi strips down the side. And yeah, again, it's just interesting. And I guess I figured that if I was going to do that with a band, and other contenders might have been Pink Floyd or something like that, but it always seems that it's really the Beatles that people get really obsessive about the different pressings. And if I was going to do it, the Beatles made sense, again, because they're my favorite, but also I figured they probably hold their value pretty well, maybe compared to some other bands. So anyway, let's just dive right in, shall we? First up, we've got here Revolver. Now, this is part of the, you can see here, the EAS series, also known as the Flag series. So EAS being the prefix in the catalog number, and the flag referring to the flag you see up here, because they also included US pressings in this particular series of records. You can see this is number 7 right here, and it goes up to, geez, I don't know, 30 or at least high 20s maybe. So you've got the Union Jack here, because of course Revolver being a UK album. I don't think in this series I don't think that there is a US version of Revolver that they pressed in the EAS series, because it would be kind of pointless. It's identical, except that it's just missing 3 tracks, so why would you do that? But anyways, yeah, this is on the Apple label, and again, since it's a UK track listing, you've got all 14 tracks on here. This one's pretty VG plus condition. The record's in better condition than the sleeve. It does have a few little bumps on the spine, a few little stains you might be able to make out kind of up here, but it was a good price, so there's that. Most of these did come from Japan, which is on the one hand slightly daunting when it comes to kind of the shipping and that, but on the other hand, it's if you combine shipping, you buy several items from the same seller, it's suddenly not quite so bad. So that's what I did with these. And again, these were sort of purchased over the last several months, even going back to last year, and I just haven't shown them yet. So here we are. Next up, we have Hey Jude. Now, this again is on the EAS Flag series. Of course, the difference with this one is that we have the US flag, because Hey Jude was originally an American album. And it's sort of a collection of songs that hadn't really been released in the US, and so that's why you've got the likes of Hey Jude and Revolution paired with Paperback Writer and I Should Have Known Better. It's just sort of a little bit of a mishmash, but it does sound good. It is a good sounding album, so glad to pick that up. Next up, we have Magical Mystery Tour. Now, this again, of course, does have the Obi, but you'll notice it's very different. This is the green Beatles Forever series with the green Obi, and I knew going into this this is going to be an inferior pressing, not because it's nothing to do with it being a Japanese pressing or the year or anything like that, but just because the source material came from Capitol Records. And unfortunately, as many of you will know, the original pressings of Magical Mystery Tour, and most pressings since, have the fake duophonic stereo on 3 tracks on side 2, which is very unfortunate. Even the Mobile Fidelity version has it, which I think I made a video about maybe a couple of years ago. And I used to have the Mobile Fidelity, and I don't have it anymore. Now I kind of wish I did. Now I'm going down this rabbit hole of collecting more of these. But anyway, even the Mobile Fidelity suffered as a result. I couldn't believe that Mobile Fidelity released it in that condition, but they did. But that's another story for another time. But yeah, this does have the booklet with it. And these are all on the Apple label, wherever you see this, of course. So yeah, very pleased to pick that up. Next up we have Let It Be, and this is also on the Beatles Forever. Nice green, the Beatles Forever part of that series with the green obi. And again, I should mention that I did already have all these albums. These are just different pressings, and this one's pretty good. It's decent. I wasn't blown away by this one, to be honest, but it looks the same for the most part as the US and UK version, especially with the red apple. Only difference is you'll see at the bottom here this EMI logo with Made in Japan right there. Next up we have Abbey Road. Again, this is on the EAS flag series, excuse me, with the Union Jack right there in the corner. And one thing I did notice about Abbey Road in particular was that the cover looks a little washed out compared to UK and even US pressings. And so I don't know exactly how the printing process worked back then, like in the 70s, if because these were originally pressed in the 70s. If it was that they were sent some kind of a photocopy or something that had to be scanned. I don't really know that would that worked. I mean, they had photocopies back then. I don't know exactly, but I don't know how that exactly worked. But yeah, it's a little washed out, but it still sounds pretty good. It's decent. I have better sounding copies of Abbey Road, but the usual thing that we see on the back here with the street sign and everything. Next up we have Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. There we go, again on the EAS flag series. And this one I did previously have. I traded it in. I think it had, I don't think it skipped, but I think it did have a scratch somewhere on side 2 that was quite audible. And so I think I traded it in at some point at a record store somewhere. But yeah, I thought, well, I better pick this up again. So I did. And as one thing I will say about Japanese vinyl is it's very quiet usually. You can always get a record that's been played too much or whatever, but it is very quiet vinyl, which is very pleasant. Even if maybe sort of sonically it's not quite as good as you might have found in a let's say a UK pressing of this, it's super quiet, like between the songs and the even in when you put the needle down, right at the start, it's very quiet. You don't get a lot of crackling or anything. And I guess Japanese records are kind of renowned for that. Let's see, three more records left. Now these ones aren't Beatles. We've got one McCartney album and 2 John Lennon, but I thought I would include them here. First up is Wings Over America. This is the only one that I'm showing you guys that I haven't yet listened to. I used to have a US pressing. I don't know why I got rid of it, but I did. And this is a triple album, of course. Beautiful obi. I really like the obi on this one. And live album from Wings. And he does include a few Beatles songs on here. Blackbird, I've Just Seen a Face, Lady Madonna, Long and Winding Road, Yesterday. Yeah, so there are several Beatles songs, which is nice. And then Double Fantasy, John Lennon, Yoko Ono. I just played this for the first time yesterday. Actually, this sounded spectacular. This was an upgrade copy. I did already have it, but my US one was just sort of VG plus probably. This one is I'd say closer to near mint actually. It's just a gorgeous copy. Love the blue obi on here as well. And this sounded amazing. Again, super quiet vinyl, but just sonically, I was kind of blown away by it. I was doing some work when I had it on, and a couple of times I kind of looked up at the speakers. Very, very impressed with what I was hearing. And then finally, so this is a Plastic Ono Band. So basically, John Lennon, Yoko Ono, and a few others a few people he cobbled together at the last minute. And this is the Live Peace in Toronto album, which I didn't previously have. I just thought I'd check it out. It was one of those things where I think it was under $10, and I knew that because I was buying a couple of other albums from the same seller, the shipping was only going to be a few dollars more on top of it because of the combined shipping. So I thought, what the heck? I'll check it out. This one does have a bit of a bend, like a fold in the obi. You might be able to make it out just about there, but that's okay, not a big deal. And this is a very funny album. There's a whole story behind this. Basically, John Lennon was convinced at the last minute to go to this festival in Toronto, and I think originally he wasn't going to perform, at least at that, but he said, well, no, if I'm coming, I want to. I think that was kind of something like that. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, and so it was him, Yoko Ono, and it says, does it say on here? Yeah, Eric Clapton, Klaus Voormann, and Alan White. Klaus Voormann, of course, who famously designed the cover for Revolver. And so they fly over. They basically got to rehearse on the plane, which Lennon later said was near impossible because they couldn't hear anything. They didn't have amps hooked up, the sound of the airplane, kind of a nightmare. And so they decided, well, we're just going to sing some kind of old rock and roll stuff that we already know, where it doesn't matter really if we're really tight as a band. We can kind of get away with it. We all know the songs, not a big deal. So side one is exactly that. We have Blue Suede Shoes, Money, Dizzy Miss Lizzy, Your Blues, Cold Turkey, and Give Peace a Chance. Now, Cold Turkey was a brand new song at this point. I think it had been released already. I won't swear to it, but it was newly released around this time. Three of the songs, Money, Dizzy Miss Lizzy, and Your Blues, had been recorded with the Beatles. So Money was on, what's Money on? With the Beatles, right? Dizzy Miss Lizzy's on Help, and Your Blues is on the White Album. So, no, wait, is it the White Album or Abbey Road? The White Album, what am I thinking? Of course it's the White Album. Anyways, side two of this is, I was a little bit speechless because side two is about, I don't know how long it lasts, 15, 20 minutes or something, of Yoko Ono, and I don't have any, some people get very passionate. They're either sort of for Yoko Ono or against her, some people think she is this terrible person who broke up the Beatles. Other people think, no, she had nothing to do with it. I think the truth's somewhere in between. I think she was a big factor. I don't think she was the only factor. And I mean, ultimately it was John Lennon's decision, right? Anyway, that's another story. But point is, I didn't go into this thinking that side two was going to be horrific, but it actually is. I mean, she actually did some fairly decent songs later on, like later in the 70s and in the early 80s, but side two of this is it's horrific. I don't know how else to describe it. It's 15, 20 minutes of Yoko Ono wailing. I mean there are instruments to it, but it's sort of that avant-garde stuff that she kind of got John Lennon into, I guess, with of course it sort of culminated a little bit with Revolution 9 on the White Album, but yeah, I listened to it and I couldn't finish it. I couldn't finish that side. It was one of the strangest things I've ever heard pressed to vinyl. It was just shocking, actually. I don't know what they were thinking. And rumor has it, and in fact I think it might be more than rumor, that by the end of that, because of course this was all being performed at this festival and they just recorded it and put it on vinyl. By the end of Yoko Ono's wailing, that fans were openly leaving and booing, and I'm not surprised. If you haven't listened to it, it's worth a listen. just to, I don't know, it's almost like morbid curiosity, right? It really is something else. I'd never heard anything like it. And of course, I'd never listened to the album before. It was curiosity that sort of killed the cat, which is why I bought it. I thought, well, I knew it was going to be cheap with the combined shipping with the other stuff. So I thought, well, let's just throw that in. But yeah, it was, wow. I don't know what else to say about it. It just terrible. But anyway, that's all the Japanese pressings. So yeah, do kind of be on standby, stay tuned, whatever, for some more videos in this little series. I do have more Beatles records that I'll be showing, including some pretty special ones, a couple of grails in particular. So yeah, look out for that. And thank you guys as always for watching. I'd be interested, by the way, if anyone else has Japanese pressings, whether it's the Beatles or something else, and tell me what you think. I think that for the most part they sound good. Not spectacular, but they sound decent. And in terms of just kind of the audio quality, the sonics, I do think that they are the vinyl's super quiet, which is really nice. So, but anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Japanese pressings. And thank you as always for watching. And until next time, bye bye.